Welcome to the Time to Practice Summer Edition. This series is meant to give you a little weekly burst of inspiration, motivation, or food for thought about music learning and music practice for young musicians each week before we restart Season 4 in September. You'll hear tips from past expert guests, listeners, and even, I hope, tips from young musicians themselves this year, and I can't wait to share them with you. Whenever you listen to this episode, whether it's in the summer or throughout the year, I hope these episodes speak to you and give you actionable advice that you can use. This episode is made possible by my webinar, Helping Students Develop Focus and Attention. This pre-recorded talk is about an hour or so long, and it discusses challenges related to attention, concentration, and focus in music practice and lessons. And it also shares some ways that we can help students or children as they develop these skills. You can sign up to purchase at the individual rate or at the studio rate. I will put a link to those in the show notes. They're also on the main page of my website, suzukitriangle.com. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome back to our summer series of practice tips from our community. And today I'm really excited to welcome back a guest who was on episode 38 with us. And I'll link to that conversation in the show notes. She's a violinist, a violist, early childhood music educator, and violin and viola teacher. She teaches at the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point in the Aber Suzuki Center. And we're really excited to welcome back Grazzia Rode-Sagastume today. Grazzia, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me, Christine. I'm so excited to be back.
Anything you want to add to my introduction that you think would be helpful for listeners to know?
No, I think you said everything.
Okay. And I think it's helpful for those of you who are parents to know that Gracia is also a parent of a young child. And so she brings that experience of, thinking from the parent angle a bit as well. So now you have some practice advice to share. I'm going to pass it off to you and see what you'd like to share with us today.
Yes, of course. So, one of the things that I have enjoyed about becoming a Suzuki teacher is the parental involvement aspect. I was not taught like that. I was taught in a traditional way. My parent wasn't there. So I really enjoyed taking the Suzuki Early Childhood training, and I took training in 2019, but I felt like it leveled up everything. And one of the things that I learned was to become a keen observer. So just to like really, really read the child's face, their gestures, and just giving them time to think. The gift of time is so precious. It's powerful. Waiting and pausing for the child to respond is so effective, and it gives you a lot of information. So, as Christine mentioned, I'm a parent. So I have a little girl. She's almost 4, and we started violin this summer. So it's been an experience. I've had to use all of my tools, seeing what works. So I think we've found something that works for now. So it's very natural for us, just going back to waiting, it's very natural for us to expect things to be immediate. So we want the child to just respond, but we don't have to talk in the silence when they're processing. We need to let them breathe and think. So they need more time to process language, and I'm thinking more also like younger students. In silence can feel uncomfortable sometimes, but that's when we just wait. When a child doesn't respond right away, it doesn't mean that they're not engaged or they're not trying or they didn't understand. Uh, and sometimes when we jump back in too soon, it can actually disrupt like what they're thinking, and it makes it very hard for them to communicate or express. So I think it's really powerful to wait and give them time to hear what we said to them, and so they can think it through and they can form a response. So that can be very meaningful for them, and it gives us a lot of information as parents too. So I know that one thing that has helped me a lot is to give about 5 seconds and being very expressive with my face. I have a lot of performance background. So that has been something that I've had to learn too, just to be expressive with my face. and have a plan. So before we start practice or before I start a lesson with a student, I have a plan of what I'm going to do that day, giving them a lot of time to think what they're going to do. So, like with my face, I'll say, like, all right, so we worked on so and so. Why don't we review Go Tell Rody? Do you remember Go Tell Rody? And waiting for 5 seconds. And if they look at me and they're like, no. Okay, well, let's sing it. We can jump back in, but just, you know, seeing practice as a collaborative space rather than I'm the boss and you're there. So there's a few things that we can do to work together. One of the things that I'd like to do with my child recently is when we're playing violin, I'll play our ti 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 ta ta, and sometimes she'll have to think about it a little bit, and I let her think. And sometimes she'll play something that is resembling something similar. So I tell them, like, oh, that sounded to me like watermelon. And can you make it sound like this? Da 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 da. And then we'll kind of polish and refine from there. I also offer a lot of choices in practicing and also when I'm teaching, in giving them time to think, what they want to do first. There was like, I went to a service once, and the pastor, I think, said that uh, the main person of the household is the head and the other spouse is the neck, because you can direct where they want to go. So if we see that in like a teaching aspect, the child is, that's what we're working with, and we're the next, so we're directing the child where we want them to go. uh, so offering choices and just waiting for them to decide what they're going to do first. Also when giving directions, so sometimes I've been working a lot on bow holds, a lot of bow holds right now. And I have found myself wanting to jump in and correct right away, right away. And it's very important to just let them try it. And that gives you information on what they know and what they don't know. You can pick up from there and polish. And also when we're giving feedback, it's very important to just pause for ourselves and think how you're going to say things. I know that myself, being raised with a more authoritative parenting, I found myself sometimes the first thing I think is like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Especially teaching, you didn't do this, and then reframing, well, we did do this, we did do that. Bringing up those positive aspects first.
I love that. A lot of really great advice in there. I think that last one about our feedback can be really, really helpful because like you said, if you see a teacher who's saying, all the right things in quotation marks or who's always positive, it doesn't mean that they're not thinking about the thing they saw that was
Right.
not wrong in their head. Like we see that too, but we're taking a moment to think about how do I phrase this so the student
Yeah.
can move forward with some new information and we don't kind of squash them and bury them in criticism. I think it's really important as a parent for practicing every day with our kid
Yes.
to think about what we're saying, right? And just do that pause, let yourself edit in your head and then say it.
Yeah. It's a very beautiful thing to be a Suzuki parent.
Mm.
It's a beautiful bond, and I am enjoying so much how much depth is brought to my relationship with my 3-year-old. Like we have, it's just wonderful. It's like when we're baking together, it's we're working together for one goal, and it just makes it so much fun. And I know it's not always going to be like that, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. And I think if we're very intentional, like, hey, we're working together, this is a teamwork thing, I do think it doesn't have to turn into an unpleasant thing or change for the worse later. I think we can really build that rapport of like, hey, we're doing this together. I'm here to, you know, help you out or coach you through. That's a wonderful
Yeah.
way to come to the practice relationship, I think.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of stuff there, but the big thing I wanted was just to talk about, yeah, just waiting and pausing and reading their face. And I think it's so helpful when they're older too. I've had um, I've had the pleasure to work with families that have had their child with me for a long time, and parents get so good at reading their child. They know before they're gonna have a shut off moment that they're gonna be like, "I'm done. I'm gonna start crying," kind of thing, and they'll say, "Oh," they'll be like, "You know what?" They might make a comment or something, and I'll pick up from them, "Oh, something's going on." So it's very interesting that it can get at such a high level that it's almost like it's like a premonition for them. They're like, I know this is gonna happen. So it's been, yeah, it's good for all of us to wait and observe.
Right. And I was, a Suzuki kid who practiced with my dad, and I feel like my dad got good at
Oh yeah.
reading me like that. And it was a very validating, interactions that we would have. I felt like he really understood me. I think they're giving your child a great gift to feel understood by you. And I think that helps build stronger bonds as our kids get older and we talk about, more
Yeah.
complicated things than violin practice. So,
Yes, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I've just been thinking a lot about, in current trends with education, people are wondering with AI and other things like what are kids going to really need to learn in the future? And the thing I'm hearing a lot is kids are going to need to learn to be critical thinkers
Mm.
and to really think, have time to think and process and make educated decisions about things. That's going to be
Mm-hmm.
more important than many other things for them to be learning right now. And I think that giving students a chance to pause and think, you're helping them build that skill. If we just talk over them the minute we see that pause, or we try to come to their rescue, we're actually not letting that build that muscle of like, what do I think? Or how do I express what I'm thinking? Because sometimes they may think it and not know how to express it. So there's a lot there that I think is really wise,
Yes.
big picture for our kids and thinking about what we're helping them develop.
Yes. 100%. Something that I've been very intentional about is I do have an adult student that is doing fiddling with me, and I am not American. So I was not, I didn't grow up listening to this. So it's being newer to me in the last decade to listen to fiddling and playing it.
Mm.
And it's been so wonderful to have that much creative power of like, oh, you mean I could do a trill here? Oh, I could do a scale here. Oh, I could do this.
Mm.
So I've been doing some of that with my daughter. When we're playing, is at the end, I'll say, okay, do you want to play a song? She doesn't know any songs.
Mm.
She just knows the singing songs, and we have boho songs right now. But she'll play the ABCs. I'm doing quote unquote. She'll be like wah, 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 on the violin, and she'll be singing along. And I think it's one of my favorite parts of our practice is when she takes control and she's like, let me perform for you something. So it's, yeah,
Mm.
I'm really enjoying adding some creative spark into practice. And same with my students over the summer. I usually tell them, like, this is a great time to add a fiddling piece. We should do it. And some of them have discovered that they like it. So it's been really great.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, the creativity. And that builds such ownership when it's like I get to choose something.
Yeah,
That's
it
really
really
fun
does.
and creative. Yeah. Yeah. Well, beautiful advice. Thank you so much for joining us. I know your comments and advice will be a lot of good food for thought for parents who are listening and teachers to think about sharing with their families. So we appreciate you. And if people want to be in contact with you after our conversation today, is there somewhere people can find you on social media or anywhere else?
Yes. So on Instagram, I have a page, and I think it's Rode-Sagastume Music. Pretty sure that's it. But email would it's very good. And my email is gsagastu@uwsp.edu. And I that would be the best way because I check my email a lot.
All right. And I will put links to that in the show notes so people can find it if they'd like to reach
Okay.
out. Thank you so much. Wonderful advice today. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Before we go today, I just wanted to say how much I appreciated that conversation, especially the idea that the gift of our time is so powerful. giving our kids space to think and to process, having a plan before we practice, asking lots of questions, and really taking lots of cues and paying lots of attention to what our child is needing from us in any given moment. So much there in that short conversation. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, you can help grow the podcast by sharing with a friend or a colleague or your teacher, if you're a teacher with the students in your studio. And we appreciate your support and sharing and helping spread the word so we can get this information out to as many people as we can. I'm wishing you all a wonderful week ahead in your practice. Take very good care.